use less toilet paper.
Oh,
But
when
you,
everyone was buying toilet paper during COVID,
but
I was like, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
doesn't it make
No,
a mess though? Like, you just splash water all over the place.
No,
no,
it
because it's like
no.
it's a
You're sitting.
streamlined shot.
Yeah, yeah. You're
But
sitting
how does
there
it
and
take everything out? Don't you gotta wipe it anyway?
I mean,
no.
you might
Okay.
take like 2
So
sheets and like pat
yeah.
yourself dry.
So
See,
you're sitting.
I'm not
You're
a
sitting
two I'm
there.
not a two
Listen.
square guy, and I use a lot of paper, bro. I gotta
Well,
be
that
Well, the
clean,
water
man.
gets rid
if
of all the
yeah,
debris.
if you use a bidet, you turn it on and the stream gets your butthole.
Is the water cold?
Well, yeah, it's from
Yeah,
the
but
fucking
it's not
toilet.
that.
No, see, I want warm water. I want cold water.
I
Well,
mean,
if you
if you
want,
want a
I'm
warm
pretty
one, then you
sure
gotta.
they make warm ones. If you really
Right?
go ahead and look on Amazon, they probably have a heated one. But everybody else, and what
Me and
really
JR will stick to paper and wipes.
Wakes you up
We're
in the
good,
morning.
bro.
A cold ass
It
wakes you
does
up. You're
wake
like,
you
ooh,
up.
okay.
What's the good myth?
As a matter of fact, that was.
No more room in hell. The dead will walk here.
What's up, Horror Fiends? It's your boy, Ricky Grimes. As you can see, we have a very special guest in the house today. Please welcome Steve from Voices from the Mausoleum. What's up,
Yeah.
Steve?
Hey, you said special. I was going to look around. I was like, who, me?
Yeah.
No. Thank
So-
you for having me. I know this is my first time, so
Yeah.
I know we've done lives before. You guys came to Voices, but
Yep.
no,
Cool.
it's exciting. I know we tried to make it happen before.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
you know.
Well, thank you for taking time out and
Yeah.
joining us, and I can't wait to talk about this one. And of course, El Jefe, the boss, the man, the myth, and the legend. JR, what up, son?
Oh man, we are doing a Hispanic anthology. Man, is this one going to be fuego, or is this just going to be make you want to run across the border?
That's mad racist. What up, Joe the psychologist? What's good, my brother?
Well, it's good. I'm hoping I'm not gonna sound as racist as him. And the best part is that we're all Spanish, so I mean, is it really though? I'm looking forward to this one too. I mean, we've done VHS. I love anthologies, little short stories. So we're gonna find out if this was an arriba or an ay caramba.
The film that we will be discussing tonight is the 2023 film Satanic Hispanics. Initial thoughts, really quick around the room before we get into each individual chapter. Quick initial thoughts of what you thought overall of the film. Don't go into each one. Just quick initial thoughts. Steve, I'm gonna start with you, my brother.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for anthology films or shows. Twilight Zone was always my jam. So it's a format that is tricky to nail, but I think Satanic Hispanic does it really well. I found myself really enjoying it. I thought the stories were woven pretty well. I like the sort of I don't know what you call it, the wraparound segment. The framework
Yeah.
worked really well here, and it sort of gave you an element of urgency. So
Yeah.
I dug that the themes and the tones were vastly different. You had your more classic horror, you had some comedy, you had some nods to different horror tropes throughout the whole thing. So I don't know, I dug it.
Yeah, I like when you mentioned the wraparound. That's one thing that VHS, in my opinion, has been weak on, is the wraparound. The stories are usually much better, so it's good to see one that is strong, bookended.
Oh
JR,
yeah.
how about you, JR?
I think what I liked about this one is you didn't know what to expect. I mean, you went in completely blind. You didn't know what. I mean, I didn't watch the trailer. I didn't read anything about this film. I know people talked about it because I just saw you see it on Instagram, but it's like I didn't know what to expect, and I kind of like the way everything was set up. Definitely, like just like VHS, some stories stand out more than others,
Mm.
but it's definitely was like Steve said, it was a good mixture. That man, I want a mixed drink right now, but yeah, it was enjoyable, and yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to talking about this one, seeing what's the weak ones and which ones are the strong ones.
Yeah, it's varied. Joe the psychologist, what up?
What's up? I mean, I'm like what JR said. It was like VHS where you had some really strong ones and some were eh. It's gonna be funny because there's gonna be one that I actually really like. That's gonna be a surprise probably to y'all, but yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it.
I know what it is.
I enjoyed it. Nope on that one, but anyway, I enjoyed it. It was good to see an anthology, obviously done by up and coming and starting to be pretty well known, writers and directors. I'm assuming that I didn't check on that part as far as if the same people wrote it, directed it.
Most
But
of them.
as
They had some
most of them,
other
okay,
ones. Yeah.
that's all right. But it was good to see that. Good to see, it giving you some kind of like history on the Spanish people.
Chapter 1, The Traveler. This was directed by Mike Mendez. Now, Mike Mendez has been around for a while. Grave Dancers was probably the one he's most known for as far as a solo project, because he's been normally on anthologies and a lot of group projects, but he's responsible for the wraparound. I believe he also did the last one, right? Because it's part of The Traveler. Am I correct on that? I didn't see a
Yes,
credit for
yes,
the
yes.
last one, so
Yeah, I think that it was him that had done it.
so yeah, let's talk The Traveler. Steve, you're the jump off, my brother. What's
Yeah.
good?
Like I said, I think this is one of the best wraparound segments for an anthology that I've seen. I was it took me like a good few moments throughout this segment to realize who Efren Ramirez was. I
Who
had
is
not
he?
seen that
Who
man
is he?
since.
Where's he from? Where's he from?
He's from Napoleon Dynamite. That's Pedro.
That's Pedro.
It's Pedro, man.
And I was like, and it just took me a moment because like it was like probably the second or third part of the segment where I was like, wait a minute, his mannerisms are really familiar. Let me just like go on IMDb real fast.
That just blew my
He
mind.
was good though.
Yeah, he was good.
I mean, he was funny in Napoleon Dynamite, but I mean, I know he's done stuff since, but
A lot of
he
stuff.
surely never blew up. But I really liked it. I liked the back and forth between him and the detectives, and they sort of touched on a lot of underlying prejudice, but in sort of like a fun back and forth kind of way. Like he was, in this all-knowing, omnipresent kind of sense, like sort of above humanity in that way as the traveler. But yeah, and then going through the different artifacts that he's had along his way, and that being the framework for the story. And then I'm not really familiar with some of the lore that some of these stories are based off of, so it was definitely an introduction to this. I guess are we going to the end of are we treating this segment as the whole?
We'll save.
talk.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
save
we'll
the
like
end part. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
All right. So we won't get into the end part, but
Yeah.
just as a framework, this is a really cool wraparound.
I dug it. Yeah, I dug everything you said, especially the little trinkets, and then when you found out that this guy's been around, it makes even more sense. Joe,
For
the
years.
traveler, and indulge me in Spanish. How do you say it?
It's called El Viajero. It was when I saw the Pine Saw lady and then Greg Grunberg, and Adam was like, "Oh," I'm like, "This guy from Alias." Like, and I think he's done some Star Wars.
He's in
or
Lost.
Star Trek. He's done.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
he's
He's
done
the
so
pilot in
much.
Star Wars, yeah.
Yeah, he's in
And Heroes.
everything J.J. Abrams. He's in.
But I'm like sitting there going like, "Ooh, boy, he's gotten a little big." And I'm trying to make fun of him, but it just like it threw me off. But and I can't remember the name of the actress, but at the Pine Saw lady, obviously she had me cracking up. But as Steven said, the interactions, because there was the whole thing with the race thing. You had a Mexican, you had a white person, you had a black person, and you're just hearing like the phrasing and everything. I actually at first I thought I was gonna get annoyed with the whole comedy in the actual way that they were interviewing him, but then I actually started to really like it, and it went from the comedy to got a little bit more serious, especially when they figured out, all right, well, he wasn't telling a lie, he's telling the fucking truth, and then from there it got better.
Well, speaking to detectives, these are not your prototype detectives that you usually see in horror movies interviewing a guy. So that's why I think it was good right off the bat. And
good contrast, yeah.
Yeah, and then just a conversation between them and hysterical. Now, remember how they found him? They went to this place. All these people are dead. There's a guy chained up with a gun in his hand, and he's trying to escape the whole time. And every time he's pulling the chain, he points up the gun, and they shot this dude like 4 or 5 times, man. I mean, they emptied clips on this, which I knew I was like, all right, this is gonna be a little bit of a comedy, which I enjoyed that from the get go.
Yeah.
And like even like the conversations they were having with him were like, do you recognize these people? I don't recognize these people. I mean, come on, I think I know that one. Yeah, who is he? I don't know. I was with him a couple hours in the back of a truck. We went to this place. I might know him. That's all I said. But yeah, the whole and I think that's what I like when it was all put into one room. So you didn't have much movement with these three characters, which I think that's what made the wraparound even better. The fact that they're locked into this room, they're trying to understand what's going on. They don't believe him from the get go because you know right when he starts saying the stories, like, oh God, really? We don't, they didn't want to get into any stories he was about to tell, which I think even made all the stories and made like the foreshadowing even better because they didn't want to hear it. They just wanted answers and he's giving them answers they didn't believe. So I think that's what it was a good wraparound story because it started comical and then once it got towards the end, it really picked up its pace. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about the ending either.
Ending was a good finale, and I loved how he spoke so many different languages, and he's
Mhm.
blowing everybody's mind. Like they were not expecting, a man of his culture to know all those languages. Come on. When it first started, it gets right into it. You see all the bodies. I'll be honest though, like I think JR said, like I was not expecting a comedy, so it kind of had the opposite effect on me. Like once that one like a police officer said like, "We're gonna need more body bags," I'm like, "Oh no, oh no." That was bad. It reminded me of like a comic book. That dialogue, 'cause that's the kind of dialogue you would find in a horror comic. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. But then when the part with the gag with the hand I called it immediately. That's somebody on the other end pulling a
Yeah.
chain.
Yeah.
And the fact they kept going to it, and that I'm gonna bring it up later, but that's like a repeating nitpick I got in this film as far as some of the gags in it. But yeah, the Traveler, dope. I think it's a good way to establish the film and get you started. And yeah, like I said, each individual story introduced within the Traveler itself was well done, and it kept you invested. So with that being said, let's go to chapter dos. También lo vi, directed by Demian Rugna. This is my boy. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's funny because I caught that Terrified sticker on the laptop early, and I was like, "Oh, cool little, nice little homage." And like JR said, I knew nothing about this film, who was involved, nothing. And as this story went along, I said to myself, "This is Rugna. This is definitely a Rugna story. I know his style, man."
Yep.
And once it was over, I looked, oh, I was right. And of course, I went back to the Terrified sticker. That's why I thought about it. I was like, oh, now it makes sense why they would have the damn sticker on there. But Steve, man, let's get it started. What you thought about chapter 2?
I still need to see Terrified. But I
my
love
brother.
Evil Works.
Yeah, you'll like it. You'll like it.
Yeah. But I know the poster anywhere. It's one of those things that's just been sitting on my queue forever and ever.
Oh,
So
I understand.
I recognize the poster. But no, I really dug this segment. It was what a way to start it too. I liked I don't remember the main character's name in this. That's the thing with anthologies. There's so many characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to.
But the guy that we're following, he's like a master at the Rubik's Cube, and I sort of love that, like his like very analytical, his very like almost algorithmic way of
OCD.
thinking, sort of lending to his discovery of the paranormal, and that sort of being the anchor for it was really cool. And this idea, like just using the Rubik's Cube in a different way, even down to like the color, the stained glass windows being
Yes.
just like the Rubik's Cube,
Yep.
and him doing. I thought that was just really clever. A lot of cool ideas, a lot of great body horror in this. I was a little confused, just sort of the twist. So maybe you guys can explain it to me a little bit at the end there, sort of how he ended up sort of in that cycle of trapped and that being him. But
I'm with you. I know either one of these two guys. They know.
This is why when I made this question, I'm on the bottom of this one because somebody else needed to explain that to me too. So
I have assumptions, but nothing on
I
content.
guess it's on JR.
I mean, I get sort of like where thematically puzzles sort of like, and it seemed there were multiple versions of him kind of within it, almost like there was like layers to the puzzle. So I'm like, thematically, I see what they're saying, but as far as like narratively and like literally,
I agree.
I need a little help. But overall, I
dug
did
it.
buy into at least the fun of it and the
Yeah,
thrill
yeah,
of it.
JR, how about you? now the ending before you start. Did you figure it out, or do you have your own
Well,
assumptions?
remember, he accidentally opened a portal unknowingly, and because you had the guy that come in and basically said, remember this was all a scam. Just everything he was doing was a scam at first
Hmm.
because he would just do
What?
that thing
Yeah,
and
no,
nobody would see anything. It was just all a scam. Wasn't for that one guy seeing his mother, and
Elaborate. What do you mean? You mean
wait.
the main character was
the
doing
main
a
character
scam?
was a scam artist. That was the whole thing, a scam.
No,
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 No, he
no.
would
no.
do
This
the
is
thing. No, he would do the thing. Is can you see it? Remember, nobody saw nothing until that one guy. The one guy was the one that saw it, and he saw the image of his mother in the mirror. That's why he asked him,
that.
how did you do that?" He didn't know because he didn't know what he was doing. He just it all came up with him doing the Rubik's cubes. So he would just do the same thing as he was solving the Rubik's cube. So that's how he would do the incantation, whatever he was doing with the lights. Because he will always close his eyes, and then if you notice, sometimes he would close his eyes, and with his right hand he would flick the lights.
That
So
drove me crazy, bro.
he was flicking the lights just to basically do a special effects at first because he didn't know what he was doing. He was just making money in the whole process. That was his whole thing of making money
How was he making money though off that? I'm
because he
confused.
would
You're
Let
come
him.
in.
Let
confusing
him.
me.
Hold on. Let him.
He would
Let him finish. Let him
because
finish.
Alright.
he would charge people to come in because he would tell people that the house was haunted.
But I thought he really. Alright, I'm sorry.
No,
I'll let
he,
you
Let him.
finish.
Let him
Yeah, I'm
finish. Let
sorry.
him
yeah,
finish. Let him
no,
finish.
that's why he always did the tricks, but he never saw nothing. But he would always tell the people, "Did you see it? Did you see it? Did you see it?" And he never saw nothing. Because even when the guy goes, "How did you get my mother in the mirror?" He didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He had,
I assumed he didn't know what he was talking about because he saw somebody completely different.
Well,
Alright, I'm sorry.
but that's where I think where by doing the
It's
things,
interesting. It's interesting. So
by doing the things, he opened portals to the other side.
Yeah.
So that's why at the end, when he was standing outside, he looked in, he saw a version of himself.
Yeah.
So he opened something from the other side. The only issue I had with this one was the fact that you had to like watch it twice to try to understand what exactly was going on.
Yeah.
And then when you watch the rest of the stories, this one left you wondering, all right, how does this tie into the rest of them? So this was the only one out of I think the two that kind of left me like, how does this tie into the whole story of the traveler? What is the connection? Because the fact that the way it ended, you're like all right, so is this guy still alive or what's going on? So I think, but visually done well. Now, here's the thing, Steve. You mentioned the window panes, right?
Hmm.
That the window panes also came up in one of the other episodes.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is ironic.
Good shout. Yeah, I did.
this is obviously it's one we're gonna have to watch over again. And here's the thing: it is utterly confusing because, and just let me finish, because it's not that I'm trying to argue with him. From what I remember from seeing, he called somebody to come to the house who is a specialist of the paranormal, and the sister was telling him this guy's a scam. Don't let him come. Supposedly he's a scam artist, and then when he showed up, he actually really saw something that
Mhm.
freaked him out because he'd been scamming people all along. So that's what I'm saying, that this is one section obviously it has to rewatch because there's different interpretations in this one. Same thing, I was confused because the delivery guy that he was talking to in the beginning was the same delivery guy in the end. So we're right back to the beginning. Is he dead? Is he alive? When he sent the picture of was the body under the table, and the sister's like, "It's you. Like, what's going on with you?" So this one was not one of my favorite ones because of the whole confusion. Um, I don't know, like it just I like some of the other ones I got really invested in. So I would have liked to seen just something a little bit more different as opposed to something that he's kind of already done involving a house. You know what I mean? To leave you confused in the end. So that's what I can say about that one.
But you just made me realize something, right? If the sister's seeing a picture of him, maybe it's like whoever died, he died in the house. I'm assuming. So I think obviously it's not explicit, but maybe every spirit trapped in the house goes through the same rigmarole, right? And it's like you're not going to see the same spirit, or you're not going to see multiple spirits at the same time because they're all experiencing the same thing at the same time. So it's sort of it's he saw his mother because that's their connection. She saw her brother because that's the connection, right? So it's whoever you're connected to, that's who you're going to see. So when you look back, he's seeing himself.
Yeah.
trapped in the house going through the same rigmarole. So I think that's probably what I think you're on to whatever that is.
Yeah, I saw it as you saw, like everyone who saw someone, they saw like a loved one.
Yeah.
They saw his father, she saw her brother, the man saw his father or his mother, the
Yeah.
scam artist. But the thing is, he was talking to his sister prior even to calling the specialist, saying that he knows there's something wrong with the house. So that's why I don't think he was trying to scam people. Even in the beginning, when he's trying to show the pizza delivery person, he just wants someone else to see it, so he doesn't think he's crazy. That's the way I took everything.
The scam was the sister calling the old guy that he invited to the house because he believed that there's something is wrong with the house. That's what the old guy was.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what he called the old guy. The old guy was there to prove to him there's something wrong with the house. The sister said to him, "This guy is a scammer." Don't
She
let
was
him,
just
you know.
she just didn't want her brother to be scammed.
It's safe to assume he's gonna order pizza again, and he's gonna come to the house again. And what I'm thinking is, this entity killed him and took his place. Now he lives. Now he lives in the house. But again, I don't know.
It's
I don't know.
confusing.
Very confusing. Very,
Like
very
he's living a
confusing.
loop as a spirit.
It could be a
Could
loop.
be a
Right.
loop. Could be a loop.
It's
and
very
that's-
like Murder House, American Horror
it
Story.
is.
You're
I
just
mean,
looping, kind of.
I dug the entity under the table though. I think it was the way it was crawling around, lifeless and very sad, very sad. And it wasn't trying to harm no one. It was just like
Needed
like,
help.
yes,
It was asking for
exactly.
help.
Yes.
It was saying, "I'll do
Because-
that, man."
Yeah. So,
So Rick,
that's what made it even creepier.
so Rick,
What-
would you have hugged it?
No, hell fucking no. This one is called El Vampiro. This is a Eduardo Sanchez joint. You know, we all know him, right? I mean, come on, Blair Witch. A little movie called Blair Witch. You know, he also did excellent alien movie, Altered, by the way, and of course exists, one of my favorite found footage films out there. I mean, this guy's awesome. Steve, you start, man. El Vampiro, man.
I do love horror comedy. I know a lot of people don't. Was this as
Hey,
sophisticated?
Steve, keep Angel away from this movie, though. Keep
No, she won't enjoy it.
she don't.
This segment was not, I don't think, as sophisticated as what we do in the shadows, but this was very what we do in the shadows. This
Ooh,
was
good shout. You know what? Oh, I didn't even
this
think
is
about that. You're right. Same tone.
vampire just living their life in modern America or South America, or like just sort of just doing their thing. And I thought it was kind of charming at the end, like the relationship with him and his wife, and she's just like, "You're an idiot, but of course I'm gonna go pick you up because I love you." And it took me a second to like kind of get into that sense of humor, like realizing like, okay, oh, this is the tone, okay, this is what we're doing. But I thought it was goofy, stupid, fun. I think there are other horror comedies in this movie that work better than this one. There's we'll get to that segment I really enjoyed, but yeah, no, I bought in. This is like this is my kind of comedy. So I was into it. I enjoyed it.
How about you, Joe?
This was my second favorite segment. And you know, I'm not a big fan of horror comedy. I'm one of the ones that trashes it on you guys. Same thing as Steve said, you know, I what do you call it? He was like my spirit character because I can see myself getting in the same trouble that he did with Adam calling me and going, "Where are you at right now?" Like
Daylight savings.
I felt this. I felt this. Like I really enjoyed it. I can't remember the name of the character he played. If you ever saw Queen of the South, he was Teresa's henchman. Eventually ended up. Oh, it's a great series. But seeing him in the comedic role,
there was something else he was in that's pretty popular. But go ahead.
seeing him in the comedic role, and then Rick's gonna bring it up as far as where they repeated the things, you know, when he kept what do you call it?
How'd you
my
know?
thralls.
How'd you
Oh,
know?
because when you said
I
about how they
mentioned it
keep
earlier.
repeating the yeah,
Yeah.
with the thrall thing, it went a little far. I'm not gonna lie, it did.
A little.
But then it's the same time, like you're going, well, you know, you're a little older. You're you're Dracula, but you can get winded. You can only go
He
so
got
far.
winded, all right.
That's what I'm saying. So he's like, fuck, there's two of them. Like, it's one of those like you like it's like I can only control one at a time. I don't have the energy to run right now. So while it did go a little longer, at the same time, just thinking about it as I mean, actually, I have more energy than he does, but just understanding that, I love the ending. When she showed up. I can't remember her name right now, but she was in The Mummy. She played um whoever can remember the name of the mummy, but she was the female one with all
The
painted
Brendan
in
Fraser
gold.
mummy?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's her.
Cool.
So I loved it. I thought, and I sat there and I'm like, oh no. And then as I kept watching it, I'm like, I'm kind of liking it. It's funny. It gives kind of showing you that Dracula eventually reaches a point that he just gets old just like everybody else. and, and, and gets tired,
And forgets
um
daylight savings.
forgets daylight
daylight
savings. That was fucking awesome. So, and I said, and then when it was done, I'm like, they're gonna be surprised that I actually like this one. So, yeah, this is my second favorite one.
GR, is this your second favorite one?
It's my third. Yeah, this one was funny though because I'm sorry, that cop scene was freaking hysterical. I mean,
Yeah.
so what are you doing over here? Oh, you're one of these people that do the Halloween stuff. You made a mess. Look at this arm. They don't make arms like they used to. Except
He's
the
like,
guy.
look at this terrible work.
Like, what do you got behind you? No. Come on, we seen you put what you got behind you. A decapitated head. Hey, look at, oh, that's cool. Let me take a picture. I mean, that whole thing was freaking hysterical. That's like probably one of the funniest like cop scenes I've seen like comedy wise in a while because just the chemistry the three had. I mean, like the whole Thrall thing where he's possessing one and other. Hey, what'd you do to him? He possessed him, and he just kept going back and forth. Then threw the head at them, and then to top it off, one of my favorite parts of this film is in the beginning of the film. He goes and he kills that girl. He's about to kill that girl on the steps, and there's a guy walking his dog. He goes, "Oh, fucking Halloween." And then leaves. And then at the end of the movie,
Yeah,
the
he's
guy
the
shows
guy
up
that-
again. He saw
Right.
fucking Halloween, throws the garbage in there. I thought that was a good, quick wrap around with that. But nah, I thought this was funny. It didn't take itself serious. It kind of broke the whole thing from the previous one, the confusion. Like, all right, we're gonna confuse people with this one. All right, let's cheer him up now with this one.
A palate
Um,
cleanser.
He was hysterical, and the fact that she asked him, "Where'd you go?" I went to Old Town. like he's not supposed to go. Like a kid.
Was that like 20 minutes away? Was it?
Yeah, it was far because it's a part like he's done it before, and
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's what you got from that is that he's done it before, and they've been together for hundreds of years, and she's like, "Where you at?" And everybody knows that phone call.
Mhm.
Everyone knows that phone call. When you're supposed to be home, and where you at?
Once again, you still wonder how this wraps around with the whole story. Because this one, I mean, this is some of these you're wondering, all right, what's the he's telling a story. I mean,
Well,
he's
it was
he's
about who murdered the
yeah, he's snitched everybody out, all these, murders that happened as when unsolved.
Yeah.
Basically, oh yeah. So do you know where they're at now? I don't know. They're ashes now. You're not gonna find them anywhere.
He
But
said
I
that?
mean, he said that when they went
Oh, I
back to the
didn't catch
interrogation
that.
room.
Oh, okay.
Where's he at now? You're not gonna find them. They're ashes. Long gone.
On paper, it's a vampire that goes on a killing spree, but forgets his daylight savings time. So the rest of the runtime is him trying to get home, but keep running into trouble. It's a great concept of a story, but then I was so like, oh fuck, what really? Because when the traveler was like, I'm gonna tell you about this guy, and they were like, please tell me it's not a vampire. And he's like, yeah, pretty much. I was like, yeah, it's a vampire story. But then we got this guy. I'm like, oh, these motherfuckers, yo, they got me, really. So, but as it went along, I started, all right, you know what? I could see he's trying to get back and but then the scene with he keeps, trying to, the two cops going back and forth. I'm like, oh, this is funny. Okay, you can stop now, guys. The joke's done. Oh my god, please, you're running this to the ground, please. And by that, it just took me out again. I was like, oh fuck. I don't know. This is one of my least favorites. It's not that it's not funny. it's not for me. This isn't like I don't know. And then the guy's vampire teeth look horribly fake. You can buy those at Rite Aid. I just come on, guys. I don't know. It's a good concept, but it's on my lower. It's not the worst one, but it's on my. It's on my. It's, you know what? It felt like Goosebumps to me, like an episode of Goosebumps. But Steve mentioned the shadows.
Yeah.
Now that he said that,
Total.
holy
Yeah,
shit!
that's 100%. I mean, you could
Total.
picture like
Yeah,
Andor,
He's
yeah.
right.
one of them doing this,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
right
yeah.
though. He's right. So I could appreciate it a bit more because of that.
All right, before we jump on another one about this part though, why don't you just turn to the bat?
That's what I was getting ready to. That's where I was going because he's like, I haven't done that in a while. I don't know, and he's like, turn it to a bat.
I think you guys are starting to turn me around on this segment. I'm not gonna lie.
check,
Though.
check it out again because again, and he's
You guys
running,
are
and he's
really making me
trying,
turn
and
around
he's
on this.
trying, and you can. The thing is, you can feel that because what it did, it gave an immortal vampire,
Yeah.
like
Feel
human,
mortal.
Yeah, but it
Immortal.
was so.
Mortal.
But
Dude,
the
I know.
scene when they're in, he
He's
gets
like,
picked
I've
up
been
by his
around
wife.
for 500 years. I mean, obviously, 500 years is for vampires, the 60s.
not only that, he closed on the dude to take his little scooter, and he's on it like he's flying finally. Like he remember how it is fly.
I know, with him, the cape was flying. He's like,
this is-
I can't turn into a bat, but I'm flying right now.
And then he got egged by those punks. But like the scene when his wife picks him up and they're in, all of a sudden out of nowhere they're in like bumper to bumper traffic and they can't get out. How does that happen?
And the funny thing, the man in front of him had tinted windows.
Gigi Saul Guerrero. I got such a crush on her. Oh my god. If you guys haven't seen, she did. I mean, she doesn't do a lot of films. She did a lot of short films. She did a segment in VHS 85, but she did El Gigante, which is a short film, which probably should belong in an anthology like this. Yeah, let's talk about this one, Steve. Again, what's your thoughts? Jump us off.
Yeah, this was this was the shaman one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I was having I definitely need to sit with it in terms of like really digging into the meaning, right? Because they're talking about the sort of the crime, but then they're also sort of juxtaposing it with the shaman's power and like sort of siphoning of power and using people and kind of soiling the earth. And I was trying to sort of figure out exactly the messaging here, but I thought it was beautifully done. I mean, the ritual itself was really cool. Like there's really it's a short in two parts, right? I mean, you have everything sort of at the home until they bring him into the ritual.
Mhm.
I thought we were gonna get a little bit more at the end. I feel like there was just like one or two scenes left to tell as far as like what the follow up is to the point of the ritual. Because you see like the family and the wall, but the transformation that the shaman goes through is just so wicked.
You felt it, right?
I mean, the makeup on this was killer. But it almost had like she almost kind of looked like the Grinch a little bit, though, right?
Oh no!
Was he
Damn it,
supposed to
now
be
I
like a
can't
werewolf?
See that?
It was. I don't know what the
I would go- I-
mythology was around it, but it
Yeah.
had like the who knows.
It reminded me a little bit of the werewolves in Skin Crawlers.
Oh, okay. So is
Yeah.
it similar to? Well, I know Skin Crawler. Skin Crawlers, those Skinwalkers are a
After
Native
the
American.
definition, I'll let you know what's the background on this one.
Yeah, so I mean, I know that is there some similarity between like Native North American as well as like South American lore, and so yeah, JR. I mean, not to do your job, Rick. I'm like, JR, your turn. Please explain to me. I need to know.
So the Nawali is an Aztec word for shadow soul. So when she kept talking about your spirit animal, now, have you guys ever watched his Dark Materials?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So remember his Dark Materials. When you're born with a spirit animal, and you have to basically bond with that spirit animal. And if that spirit animal dies, so do you. So, in the whole thing about it is that in order for like her transformation, she had to take his life in order to start transforming to that. So she basically took his spirit animal. So when the person takes the spirit animal is the one that commits the evil, according to these Aztec people. So it kind of because I watched it and I was a little bit confused at first. I was like, all right, let me do some research on the Hawaii people, and lo and behold, these people were shamans. They were the ones that believed in these spirit animals,
So
and
they're
they
real. It's real.
yes,
Yeah, oh
yes.
yeah, no,
And
they're
Gigi
real.
Gigi
They're real.
does a lot of stuff based on
Real stuff.
Mexican lore.
Yes,
Yeah,
she does. Yeah.
this is part of Mexican lore.
Cool.
I mean,
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
yeah, it's your animal twin, it's your spirit double. It's born the same time as you. It shares your soul, and this is where they kept talking about the animal, your spirit animal, and this is like remember the one guy who kept chasing, who didn't talk, but he looked like he had fangs coming
Yeah,
off.
that's how I kept going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
turn into his spirit animal in order to do what he needed to do against this guy. I mean, I wish they would have went more deep into it because I agree with Steve. It felt like once it got to a certain scene, they rushed it. So they should have took their time to explain it a little bit more
Yeah, I would agree with that.
because Gigi does do a great job, as far as the Mexican lore. I mean, remember she did the VHS one with the earthquake in the bottle.
Earthquake. Yeah.
Oh, that was her.
Yeah.
That was her. Which is lore with
Lore.
the
Yeah,
god,
she
the Aztec
was,
god.
yeah.
So she always wraps around a lot of her stuff around the Aztec gods. So that was interesting. But that's the definition of the spirit animals. And
Thank you,
these
brother.
Yeah.
Steve, did you have anything else to add to this? To your, I know you threw the GR. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, I mean that was. I guess I was the only other thing I was a little bit confused on was that what did they promise him? He was
Yeah. Good question.
because he was like, I needed power from because that was the parallel that I was trying to figure
Yeah,
out.
same
was
here.
Was like obviously they were doing a parallel between like crime and like what was going on in that world versus like people being taken advantage of in like this like magical world, this other side of things, right?
You're curious how this tied into the story as well. Like I know he mentioned this guy's after him, but sometimes like this one and the first one, the second one,
No, it was the blood. That's what tied
The
it
blood,
together.
the vial of blood. The
yeah,
vial of blood
that's right.
that
The blood. I
that
forgot the
witch
blood.
drank
sacrifice.
from.
The witch drank from, yeah. Which you wonder where that came from, but
They-
yeah, I
no,
mean,
they showed
From
it.
her.
oh yeah,
I
from
know.
her, yeah,
It was all
From
that,
her.
yeah,
I
like,
know.
the bile.
They showed it
yeah,
when they put it in. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know, but now the question is, how the hell did the traveler get a hold of
Exactly.
it? He's a collector. He's like me. So
He's like always on the move because I guess he just
He's
travels.
like, I
from
love
place to
that.
place, so
Yeah, I love that.
he just
But
okay, this crazy shit happened. I'm just gonna grab this.
But to go off what Steve said, it was beautifully done. I mean, everything was
Oh, visually,
visually
that's great.
stunning. I mean, I like the whole, I wanted the whole sacrifice ceremony thing a little bit longer, to see who else turned because I was kind of disturbed with the other dude licking his face and stuff.
It felt like you basically were put in the middle of a movie without getting what happened in the beginning and what happens at the end.
Yeah, I could see
it-
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and because like you said, you're left with even more questions in it, and that's what it felt like. It felt like you got a segment of a movie, and this is where we're at. I would have liked to seen how the traveler walked up and found them all and grabbed the vial. Or
See,
how
I don't
he
want
did
to
get
see
the
any of
vial.
that. Yeah.
I know, but he has it with him, so how they all
But
how the stories
it makes
all
you think
tie.
though. But it makes you think, how did he get it? If you see it, then you know. It don't make you like question it after.
Okay. Well, that's you, me.
Oh, so
Um,
Joe's the kind of guy he wants everything explained to him in a silver
Well,
platter.
no, because if you're gonna tie it in,
No,
if you
I'm
want to know how
joking,
these
I'm
stories tie in,
No, I understand, I
you
understand.
you want to have like
Mhm.
whatever your point is.
No, you're right. You're right.
on
You're right.
these things tie in.
Yeah.
So it was just again, it was beautiful, it was cool, but it just was one of the weaker ones for me.
The Hammer of Zanzibar. Alejandro Bruges. Juan de los Muertos. This guy's
Yep.
directed by the director of Juan of
Yep.
the Dead.
Yep.
And yeah, let's get into this one. Steve, I'm gonna assume this is the one that you preferred as far as the comedy one.
Oh, but this is my favorite segment.
Yeah.
This was Evil Dead meets a little bit of Buffy, a little bit of Angel, a little bit of like. This was really like, other than my favorite horror movie, this style is what got me into horror in general. I mean, Buffy is my favorite show. So this sort of like,
Oh,
you have
Joe
your
too.
villain- Joe too, yeah.
Yeah.
You have your villain, really good prosthetics. It's just super fun. I love Jonah Ray as well. I think he's really funny.
We just talked about Jonah Ray, but where did he show up? What movie was this?
Destroy All Neighbors.
Oh, Destroy.
Oh yeah. Do we not like Jonah Ray, or we like Jonah Ray?
No. I don't mind him.
We
But
didn't
the
like
movie,
Destroy All
we
Neighbors.
weren't into the
Yeah,
movie.
let him. Yeah,
I'm
let him
sorry. This is how he rolls, Steve. So
talk. I know. Let him talk. Let him talk.
Well, I know Jonah from
Mystery Science.
Yeah.
Mystery
Mystery
Science.
Science.
Yeah, the Netflix reboot. But anyway, no, I dug it. I liked how it started in this diner or this restaurant, and just sort of the switch, and I thought the dialogue was on point. The humor hit. The action was fun. I mean, like you pretty much have a giant dildo being Excalibur.
Exactly.
I mean, hysterical.
Well, no, it was his dick, because remember,
It
he
was
chopped
actually
off.
his penis.
Yes, he chopped it off. I'll let him finish, and
Okay.
I'm next, so I'll explain it.
All right. I didn't realize it was
Finish.
the actual
Let me
phallus
finish.
of this being. All
Does
right.
that make it better or worse?
Makes it better.
It does.
No, I just thought it was just like
It does. It does.
relic thing that was being used for pleasure.
Look at JR. Look at JR.
I think that's hysterical. That makes it even funnier then. That it's
It
his actual
does.
penis. But yeah, no, I mean, I thought that it was very Evil Dead. The gore was great. Yeah, I don't know. I just gushed about this movie or this segment. I think it's
What was your favorite part, Steve, in this one? Your favorite moment?
favorite moment in this segment.
In this segment, yeah.
Oh man. I mean, the sort of, I guess, like, the action itself was really fun. It was exciting. So I guess
It was
maybe the
needed in this
excitement-
film. Yeah, this film was lacking that, and this episode delivered that.
It was just exciting, and sometimes you just want to have fun with
Yeah.
it as well. But I also thought it was genuinely funny too. So it had a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And it had some good creepy stuff too.
Joe the psychologist, please indulge me. I know this one's. I said it. I knew it. This was gonna be your favorite one. So talk to me, brother.
All right, I'm not gonna lie. The minute I saw him, I went, "Wow, I'm gonna hate this one."
What was his name? It was at an M.
Jonah Ray.
No,
right?
the character name.
Oh, Malcolm.
Malcolm. Because the guy said, "Oh, you haven't met Malcolm."
No, who's Malcolm? Oh, I'll tell you about Malcolm.
I'll tell you about Malcolm.
But when I saw him, only because of Destroy All Neighbors, I went, shit. But when Jacob Vargas showed up, and he gave this story, and we're
Who was
Adam and
that?
Eric, the El Jefe.
No, but
guy
what
that-
actor? You know the actor?
Joker
Jacob
from next
Vargas.
Friday. Joker from next Friday. The Mexican dude from across the
Christ,
street.
That was your right. Oh
Yes.
my God, Joker.
Jacob Vargas has been, dude. He was in Selena. This guy's been around for a long time.
I didn't recognize him.
So
I-
when he's sitting there because they go to him to get a weapon to help against this demon, and then he's telling the story, and he's talking, and like Adam and I are watching this. He goes, and then he went inside me. We're like, did he just? And then he kept going with the story, and you're like, wait a minute. So he was sleeping with this. Oh, and he got jealous because it turns out that what do you call him? Popo, I think was his
Popo. Yeah.
Popo. What was his name? When he found out that Popo was sleeping with everybody in Cuba, he chopped his dick off, and that's how the Hammer of Zanzibar came to be.
But didn't he chop it off because he escaped out the window, but he shut it and it just castrated him? Is that what it was? Like, he didn't just cut it off. Like, dude, he did something that got his.
This sounded comical. I forgot what.
Yeah, it was some like Looney Tune like scenario that
yeah,
got.
but either way, he was
Yes.
jealous because he ended up finding all out.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny too. The action was great. He redeemed himself from Destroy All Neighbors for me. I can wipe away Destroy All Neighbors because he was much better in this one. I loved, because he's sitting there, he's like, this isn't real. And he totally calls it out. And then you see it all.
Because he was a smart character.
He was a character. Like it was one of the better stories in the movie because of everything that the segment brought. You had the action, the comedy was great. Again, Jacob Vargas, when he's telling the story, and because you're not expecting the story you're about to hear, and you're like, what is and you're laughing at it And then he's, oh, you don't know nothing until you feel that power inside you. And you're in your head going, but
How about when they saw the actual relic and how big it
yeah,
was? That was inside
dude,
you.
yeah, like the react, that was fucking awesome. And then he kicked the demon's ass with this. It because after I saw that, you got to this, and we're gonna
Yeah.
get to the end, which is a huge contrast, which is one of the things that elevates this anthology, because you go from a great comedy to this kick-ass part at the end.
I'm sorry, Jacob Vargas made this episode. He goes, sit down. You guys have to hear this. If you're going to go against this demon, you have to hear this. It's going to save your life. So I summoned this demon.
He knows the dialogue.
I summoned this demon.
What do you
When I
read the
summoned him-
script?
Nah, when I summoned him, he forces himself upon me. It was very rough. He goes,
Hold on. Before you continue, the best part about it is Malcolm and his boys' reaction.
Malcolm and Miguel.
They're both like, "What?
Yeah, because
No,
he goes,
no.
Cause he goes
Stop,
like this.
stop."
He goes, he forced himself upon me. Oh, what kind of demon was? He goes, and then he penetrated me, and then he left his demon juice inside me. I'm like, whoa, what? And then he left. He goes, there was a couple more summonings, a couple more sacrifices, and the dude was like, hold on, you summoned a demon? What?
Oh yeah, you're
He
right.
did.
I
He did. He said-
I forgot about
It was
that.
a
you're
bird
right.
or something? I forget what it was.
and then he goes, Miguel turns around, he's possessed, and now it's yes, the Evil Dead, perfect, comparison, because
And Miguel's voice
when
was
Miguel
hilarious.
turned
The
around,
actor
the
was-
eyes white, just like
Mhm.
Evil Dead. I'm gonna F your mom, dude. What do you think? F my mom.
Well,
That's
I'm
all I
gonna,
can
I'm gonna fuck
say.
your mom's head. Was
I'm
it?
gonna
I'm gonna
F your
fuck your mom's head or something like
I'm gonna F
that.
your
Or
mom.
is
I'm
it-
gonna F your mom. I'm gonna
Heart,
F
your mom. I'm gonna fuck your mom's heart.
He goes, dude, leave my mom alone. He goes, I'm gonna F your mom. I mean, this thing, but it just shows you. It starts off with something, I mean, the Traveler is a little comedic, and then it goes into something serious, and then it goes into the Dracula, something comedic, and then it goes into the noir, something serious. So it continued changing from comedy to serious. This one was freaking hysterical. I mean, yeah, the action sequences were amazing. The
This
fact
is
that
this is number one, Gio. This one.
I would say this is probably my number one out
And
of all of them, because this one it had everything. It had everything that
Yeah.
you want in a horror comedy.
So all three of you, number one. Pretty cool.
Because
Mm.
the comedy didn't feel forced. It felt the fact that Jacob's telling his story, he's serious the whole time, and like he's really pouring his heart out. The fact
Yeah,
that this demon broke his heart to the point where
fuck him
he
over.
basically castrated him, because all he wanted was attention. He never came back, so I summoned him.
I don't want to say a jump scare, but a jump moment with the shotgun under the table.
Yeah.
That was an awesome.
He
scene.
blasted her mid sentence. She flew, and that shot was so loud. I'm like, oh shit, they got me. Oh my god, what a. And I didn't know who directed this at the time. So I was like, wow, that was a great jump scare right there. But I will say, the music near the climax took me out. And Joe knows me.
Really? Yeah, I know.
No.
I
If
know.
you put crappy
I know.
music, whether it's rock music,
Well,
I,
and it
I
was
listen. Hold on. I love rock. I love heavy metal. I grew up with Metallica, Megadeth, and thrash metal. Keep it out of my horror movies. You put rock music in any movie, to me, instant death knell. I do not like rock music, and I forgot the genre of this was, but it gave me the same sense. Like, really, you're gonna turn this? You're gonna really go into this musical all of a sudden? Like, and I hate musicals, bro.
and the song was written for the movie.
Yeah, but
Because I actually I put
Yeah.
while we're watching it, I'm like, is this a real fucking song? Because I hit my phone, put on my Shazam, and didn't pick it up. So I looked up. The song was just done for the movie. I agree with you.
All right, let's go. I know we've been waiting for this one. This is the epic climax, the finale. I'm gonna assume Mike Mendez also directed this because it is part of the wraparound as far as the Traveler. So this puts a nice bow on the entire film. So Steve, once again, this is gonna be our last chapter. So what's good, man? How'd you like this
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, I mean, just again to reiterate, like this is my favorite wraparound segment for any anthology film that I've ever watched in like the modern era, anyway.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this is really cool. It was really cool. I like that. I almost wish like this is the first time I've ever wished a wraparound segment was just sort of its own movie. Like I feel like you probably could have had a nice tight like 90-minute story out of the traveler who's sort of on the run from this. Is it the God of the Dead or with this like sort of? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, the God of the Dead. Yeah, like this sort of running from death. Very Final Destination too, kind of.
Oh, Steve, I don't want to cut you off, but yeah, thank you for bringing that up. He's immortal, the traveler.
Mhm.
Let me ask you. Now, I have my own theory on it, but why is he immortal? Did they really
He's not
explain
human.
it?
I don't
Huh?
think he's human. I think I don't know if he's supposed to be a proxy for another god or another, but
He's
it's
a
sort of
saint. He's a saint
he's a
of the
saint,
dead.
right?
Really? You
Saint,
know how
yeah.
I'm so dumb. When I first saw this, I was fucking nice as hell, by the way. But when I saw, I'm like, so all right, death was supposed to take him, and he escaped death, but death's not letting him die any other way unless
He
it's by
made a
death
deal.
itself.
No, he made a
Okay,
deal.
thank you. All right,
He made a deal.
The cop pulls him over. He's like, I got to get out of here in 90 minutes, otherwise you're all gonna die. I'm also wondering because he comes across all these artifacts, right? Like, so he's like running from death. So I'm assuming like as he just goes across, along his way, these things are happening around him. So he's like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna take this little vial of blood and take this thing. But I'm wondering, are all these things happening because just death's coming through? Like death comes through town, and it's like sort of because he's there,
Mhm.
death was there,
it's looking for him.
you know. And I
Or
guess
Interesting,
ways to,
yeah.
or ways to stop him.
yeah.
Because the blood was supposed to give you power,
Mm-hmm.
and he still had that vial of blood, and he's running from him.
Right. But overall, I mean, I don't. Again, beautiful. The design of the God of Death is like
Oh yeah, top
so
tier.
cool.
Very cool.
Like, I mean, I don't want to throw the Buffy thing out there again, but it's just sort of
No,
again,
go
it had
ahead,
that
go
sort of
ahead, go
really
ahead.
cool prosthetic. We don't see that. Other Star Trek had really great prosthetics, and then around that time, and we need more of that kind of
You can throw
costume.
if we're together, you can throw Buffy all you want.
That's all I got. Otherwise, I loved it. I thought outside of that, that coincidence is my rock music for that segment.
Good job. Welcome to the show.
And JR, give us your thoughts, brother.
All right, so I like this segment. I only have 2 knocks on it. One, I wish they would have kept him with the hat on because that look was fucking awesome. When he walked into, I
Looks like Caliban and shit.
I love that.
Yeah, he
If
did.
they
It
would
looked
have
cool.
kept him like that, I think I would have. Keep him like that because this dude just walked. I mean, Death just walked into the building, and it took a bunch of bullets to basically strip him down to what he supposed to look like. Which,
Like Cad Bane, if you know that Star Wars.
yeah.
Oh yes, Cad Bane. Oh my, you know what?
Yeah.
That's what I had in mind. Thank you.
But keep him that look was awesome
Cad
because it was a
Bane,
look that you didn't see before.
No,
I mean,
look good.
well,
Look
it
good.
was very unique for Death,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like they did the superhero ending of every superhero ending film, where the final battle is
Quickly.
basically quick, one bullet, that's gone. I gotta leave in 90 minutes because that's gonna come back in 90 minutes. But I wish they would have had that interaction with them too a little bit longer, because the minute he got the gun, he shows up to his death and basically escapes.
And
Which
he
I
shot
think
him on the shoulder.
Yeah, but that's
I know.
because he had this extra gun.
The bullet shot him in the shoulder, and he fell apart. It's not like he shot him in the heart. He didn't shoot him
Shoot him in
anywhere.
the head or something.
Yeah.
But
He shot him in the shoulder. He's like,
Oh,
and then he's falling apart.
yeah. So for
it was
me,
like
I
a
mean,
poison that spread, right? Is that sort of the whole? I
Yeah,
don't
it
know.
doesn't matter where you hit him to me. It's just the bullet and the gun. It's
Yeah.
magic. So
I just wish it would have been carried a little bit longer because I wanted to see that interaction with
Yeah.
them too. You know, because it would have made a wraparound story. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a very good wraparound story. It would have made it a lot stronger just if you had more of interaction between them two.
It was a little reminiscent of Malignant for me. I did love the look of him. I know you guys were hoping that it kept to the way that when he first walked in, but with the bullets shooting away from his facade and then exposing what he looked like, I actually thought that was kind of cool. So I was okay with, basically everything being torn apart and you seeing what this god looks like. Same thing though. It was a great wraparound, just like JR said. For me, because unless I'll watch it again to see if the bullet hit somewhere else, because it looked, from my perspective, that the bullet just hit the shoulder and then he fell apart. It was, as he said, it's like one of these, you get to this point and then it's this quick little end. And it kind of messed up this great wraparound with how anticlimactic the gunshot part was. Like if you would have got him in the heart, zombies, got him in the head, where it would have mattered, it would have seemed like the death would have just ended there. But because he shot him over the shoulder, which then makes you question if you could have aimed the gun a little bit better and shot him in the head or in the heart and got rid of him, you could have been done with all of this.
I'm so bad with when it comes to ratings, but I
You can go. Listen. You can go in quarters. Every once in a while, we go in quarters also.
Yeah, you
if
could do
don't
that.
feel- Yeah, no, we totally do that.
Okay, because I'm going to say 3 3/4, right? 3.75, right? Because I don't think it's quite a 4 or a 5, but it's got some great sheen and shine to it, and so yeah, so it's like just shy of a 4 for me. Because I feel like a 4 is like really good. 5 is like, I mean,
yeah.
cinema history, right?
So 3.75.
Yeah.
All right. JR?
I'm gonna give it a 3. The reason I'm giving it a 3 because I feel like some of the other stories didn't really intertwine well and left you more confused in how they connect with the traveler. So I think if they would have tied those stories a little bit tighter, this would have been definitely a 4 to a 5. But the fact that you have 2 weaker stories here and 3 stories that outshine them, and then the wraparound story is good. But yeah, I'll give it a 3 because, like I said, I really wish the other 2 episodes, was it the number 2 and then number 4, did a better job connecting to the story. Yeah, 3 for me.
Joe, the psychologist.
I'm actually going to give this a 4. It was entertaining. It was fresh and new in some certain ways. But I, throughout the whole entire movie, at not one point did I pick up my phone, get bored, go, like, is this movie over with? So as a whole, and I'm rating it as far as like anthology wise, it's probably one of the better anthology, minus Trick or Treat, one of the better anthology movies that has come out in the recent years.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I like that because this movie, when I went into it, honestly, guys, I don't know if you heard that mic move, but sorry. When I went into this movie, me personally, I expected more. As a Hispanic, we don't really get a lot of shine, especially in horror. Right now, we got this resurgence of all these nice up and coming horror directors, and some that are established that are now finally getting, their work appreciated. So when I saw this, I wanted them to push the envelope a bit more. They kind of stayed in the safe space, and I didn't want that. I want them to really go out and kick ass. Like Runa did Terrified, and When Evil Lurks. But this one, like we all said, I think I apologize, someone mentioned it, but he didn't. He was kind of reserved in this one. It felt kind of like weak in a sense that he'd been there, done that. So. Yep. I wanted more. I came up with a 2.5 average. But talking to you three, I'm gonna raise it to a 3 because the comedy it's not my bag. It just ain't. But if it's done well, but because I went in already expecting something that it wasn't, I don't want to. It's not fair. It's not fair.
You're expecting straight horror.
Yeah, maybe if I see it again, yeah, exactly. If I see it again, I would appreciate it more. But the first time, I'm like, oh my god, what is all this comedy? What? No, stop. But the comedy was good. The comedy that was there was good. So it's a solid film. It's a 3. Before we leave, Steve, what we do when we have guests on 3 corners of horror for the first time. I mean, you're family. We've known you for a while now, but this is your first time here, so our
On the show
audience
proper, yes.
doesn't know you. So give us your
All
top
right.
10 personal favorite horror films.
All right. So really, the only one that matters placing wise is number one. Maybe 1, 2, and 3. I'll say.
How do you want to
else, I
go?
feel
Do you
like
want to
God,
go
he's-
1 to 10
God,
or
he's
10
like
to 1?
he's like me. Like
Hold
he
on, hold on.
wanna like you put these little prefaces.
Well, I'm gonna say 1 and 3 are like that's like my trifecta, right? 1, 2, 3, and then everything else is sort of like based on mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, starting on the bottom, and we'll go. So we got The Conjuring, we got Gremlins, we get Hellraiser, we get The Haunting 99. I will defend that movie to my dying
I
day.
love The Haunting.
I love the
Haunting is-
original, but 99 with Liam
99 was-
Neeson.
Yes, that was a
Lily
really good
Taylor.
one.
Never
Lily
seen
Taylor
it.
is
Never seen it.
awesome.
That's the only
What?
movie I haven't seen so far.
Catherine Zeta-Jones is in that movie, and she's
It's-
so fucking.
Ooh.
It's so
Catherine
good. The
Zeta-
CGI is dated for 1999, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, when you go back and watch
It's-
like the first Harry Potter movie, like it looks like a Windows 95 game.
But props for throwing that one there because again, it's very underrated.
It's so underrated.
Underrated.
And for 99, it's like it goes there. It's awesome. I mean, they take the Shirley Jackson character, and Catherine Zeta-Jones is a proud bisexual at that point, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's like you're doing cool stuff, right? So I give it
But-
up. Anywho, Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead
Midsommar.
2
Evil
over
Dead 2
Evil
is my
Dead
favorite
1.
of the
Interesting, because
franchise.
a lot of people always put 1 over. But I think 2,
I would
If-
put 2 over
yes,
1.
2
I
is
mean,
the superior film.
two-
Absolutely.
two-
Henrietta, come on now.
Yeah.
Bobby Rose.
Yeah, no, 2 is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's such a good time. Yeah.
Midsommar.
Oh, Joe loves that.
I love Midsommar, and I have X and Pearl kind of
Ooh.
All right, now we're talking. Now we're talking.
Make just jumped in.
Big Ty West fan over here.
and then so my top 3 would be Halloween, The Shining, Poltergeist.
The original Halloween.
Poltergeist.
Poltergeist is my top movie, and I will.
Listen, if you don't
I'm
know
not sure
Steve,
that
he goes by the Poltergeist guy. Okay, if you don't know Steve.
Oh, nice.
Let me see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now-
So like I've loved this movie since I was 9.
I still remember the scene. I always mention this when this gets brought up on the channel. The scene when the skeletons rose up from the fucking the
Yeah.
watery grave. What was it?
No, it's
Outside
not.
in the
It's the
backyard.
pool. It's
the
their
pool.
pool.
I know, but it was a watery grave because it had all
Yes,
those bodies in it.
They had put
The pool- yes, dude.
development over.
I will
the-
never forget that scene. And when
Yeah.
I was a kid, people always they'd be scared of the clown scene. I'm scared of that scene when I was a kid.
Actually-
Oh, the
Just the
skeleton
way-
is terrifying.
Curious, Steve. Did you read the book?
Yes.
JR, thank you, my brother Steve. Voices from the Mausoleum, bro. Thank you for coming back or coming for the first time.
Yeah, finally.
But you will be back. You will be back if you choose to, if you want to. And Joe the Psychologist, my boy. Movies that fucked me up. Thank you, my brother. I'm Ricky Grimes, the Three Corners of Horror, Horror Fiend TV. Thank you for joining us. Come back next week. And most of all, be good, stay safe, stay healthy, and most of all, stay scared.